Well, first things first, you've got a haircut.
It's long now. You should have seen it 6 weeks ago or whenever it was.
All the curls are gone.
Well, they didn't come back. I got a cut a few months ago and it was still long. And I'm going gray, and all of the curl went with the brown, apparently. And you know what? I just thought I'm tired of thinking about it, so it's gone.
Oh,
It's
see, the
been
sad
very
part
nice.
about that is you're a dude, which means it's never coming back. I mean, I went gray in my 30s. Like, can you tell? No.
No, I'm not sweating it. I haven't thought about it once since I walked in and said, "Yeah, this was like mid-March." It's been a while.
Wow. So we haven't talked since mid-March?
I don't think not if you haven't seen my haircut. I think I got it cut like the 20th around there. 20, I don't know, in March for sure.
May. I mean, practically.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's catch up. How was ACDC?
Well, it's funny. You know what they did? They rocked.
Who saw
Yeah.
it
Just as always, just tremendous. And I went in there thinking, okay, don't nitpick over the rhythm section not being one I've seen before. Don't worry. I didn't have a single thought like that. It was just fantastic.
See, I keep hearing people watching it online and complaining about sound or how everybody sounds or how it's sounding.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that doesn't matter when you're in the crowd.
No, not at all. I mean, that's the thing too, the entire experience. And it just, looking around at people, watching other people take it in. And it's clear that some of these people have never seen them before. So it's their first time, that buzz it's just too much, man. You can't even imagine it. You just have to be there to experience it. It's great.
Did you get a chance to check out the pop-up bar?
I did not.
I heard that's the only place you can buy the reissue of the Australian version of the 74 album that was, is it High Voltage? I think it was, that was released in Australia and then was a re-release, but as like their second or third album in the US.
I can't keep it straight. I mean, Jailbreak, I think, was the first one down there, but then High Voltage got different versions and passed around. By the time they hit here, they'd already done a few down there, and they were kind of repackaging for an American audience. Blah blah blah. I don't know.
Well, supposedly there's a reissue, and supposedly the only place you can get it is that pop-up, and I just haven't had anybody who could confirm or deny at this point.
I mean, they opened with "If You Want Blood." It was just like, what? Okay, it was just awesome.
Which I don't think they played live in a very long time. I don't remember seeing that in 2015 when they were at Oracle Park. And I think I would have remembered it because I've always loved that song more since it was featured in the movie Empire Records. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
When the record store manager just loses it.
Yeah.
and he goes into his
office. I haven't seen that since it came out, but I remember that, yeah.
I think anybody who's ever worked in a record store, that movie is mandatory viewing. Just
and High Fidelity is good too. They both have moments where it's like, yeah, that's what it's like.
Still super bitter that they're not playing Northern California. I just keep watching it happen. Like I'm missing it, and I'm not going to go. And in the back of my head, I still feel like I'm going to hit a show at some point, and I just can't come to grips with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a few left. You got time. Maybe you fly over to Ireland this summer. Who knows?
If I could pull a second trip, that would be kind of awesome. But I'm doing the Black Sabbath Birmingham thing, so.
Oh, that's right. Of course.
Yeah. Maybe if I make a ratings bonus or something crazy happens, win the lottery, whatever, suddenly come into like an extra $5,000. I'm there. I'm totally there.
Well, the Sabbath thing's going to be awesome.
All right. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I have the bare minimum booked, and now it's kind of getting to crunch time where I need to start like really looking into reservations for other stuff that I want to do. And I have not done any of it. I don't know how everything is so busy now.
I can relate to that. This last month is like lost time to me. It just doesn't even. We started the new morning show on April 3rd, and it's a month, and it's just nothing has added up and made sense. It's just been like, I mean, it's good, but it's just
Yep.
a real fast month.
So how's the switch been? Does it feel different? Like it's a whole different format, or it's a slightly different format?
No, it's entirely different. I mean, we open the show, we start at 6 a.m. and, some more, it'll be like a Foo Fighters song, which isn't that big a switch, but sometimes it's a replacement song. Sometimes it's, a Husker Du song. Sometimes it's any number of things. Just modern English, for God's sakes. It's very, to me, it's very refreshing. It's very fresh. It's all stuff that I'm just thrilled to hear because I haven't heard it on the radio in a long time.
Well, if you're playing Husker Du, I'm going to put in my request for Nick Cave because
it's on the way. We're folding stuff in all the time.
Go Minnesota!
Yeah, man, it's pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sublime. I mean, it's like wild.
We're going to have to talk about that whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, because there's just way too many aspects behind that. Not just the you factor, but obviously the you factor. That's my personal slight.
The me factor it's fine. I mean, seriously, it's like I was already asleep on Sunday night when they announced it. I wasn't exactly sweating it. Like, I told you this, and I meant it when we were nominated. I couldn't believe it. And if we had gone in, that would have even been more. You got to be kidding me. And it's not like it's not false humility. I'm not acting like, oh no, we sucked. It's nothing like that. It's just, I always look at it like, I look at who's not in there already, and I just think they have a lot of ground to make up before they get to a band from the 90s that, that had a great run and a great band, and it's still in its current form, operational, but it doesn't have to me, we just never had that kind of a resume. Like, we certainly weren't trying to, and I didn't think we did. But if we'd gotten in, of course, I would have been thrilled. It would have been awesome. I'm really happy Soundgarden got in. That's the main takeaway for me. As much as I love Joe Cocker, and as much as I think it's cool the White Stripes got in, Soundgarden was the one. If they hadn't gotten in, I would have really been like, okay, seriously, what's happening here?
Now, that leads me to a couple of more questions I have about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? The induction is always kind of a bone of contention. Last year, Foreigner were super excited to finally get in. It was a big deal. Yeah. And then they said when they got there, it was like no communication. The people who wanted to play didn't necessarily play. And even though I think Lou Gramm had said he was like, he and Mick Jones had basically buried the hatchet. They didn't have that moment. And there was just some grumbling about it.
It's really weird. Well, the problem with most bands is they're not still together, so they don't have a united front. When Metallica goes in, when REM goes in, or U2, or these bands where it's the same people, or for the most part anyway. I mean, Metallica, it was the band plus Jason, as it should be, plus Cliff, as it should be. It was like, it's easy. You just have a centralized chain of command. For a lot of these bands, like Foreigner, you've got
at the very beginning of not fighting with the estate of Cornell. So how is that?
I mean, it's like, it's just a weird thing. It's like, who does the Hall reach out to? Like, in the case of Foreigner, those guys aren't even touring as Foreigner anymore. It's like you have 6 different people that they have to contact, 6 different assistants or managers or wives or butlers or whoever. And it's just hard to get, like I said, if a band is still together and still operating as one group of people, it's very easy. It's just send one email to the manager and he tells them where to be when.
But Foreigner is currently touring with, I'm saying, can I get my quotes? My Foreigner is currently touring with the Broadway star of the Foreigner Jukebox Hero musical in Canada. And then when they do their South America run, Lou Gramm is going to front Foreigner because Kelly Hansen apparently can't leave the country, even though he was born here. They haven't really said what's going on with that. They've just been like, hey, Kelly Hansen has some issues and can't leave the country. So here you go.
Yeah.
So yay, South America.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to be in. I mean, I'm sure that guy's a great singer, but I'd rather see Lou Gramm if it was me.
Right. I mean,
I'm not going to fly to Peru to do it, but I'm just saying.
Flying to Peru sounds kind of awesome, actually.
Actually, yeah, I could use a trip down south.
So I'm wondering if Soundgarden are going to be fronted by, because right, they have an incarnation right now, which I think is the Sludge Dragons with, oh God, what's her name? Something Shepherd is her name, and she's not related to Ben Shepherd, but she's fronting them.
Okay.
And I'm sure that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is going to be like, no, we'd like to treat this like we treated Nirvana and get some all-star singing.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine so. I mean, they definitely, from what I've heard over the years, the Hall definitely has an idea of what it should be. And they do get into, I mean, look at Van Halen. Like, they didn't want Wolfgang playing bass. They wanted Michael Anthony. And they held their ground, and so Eddie didn't show up. It's like you get some big lapses, you get some big moments that just should have been great and weren't because of that stuff. Because bands are so much fun.
Perform as well.
Because what?
Kiss refused to perform as well.
Yeah. But we'll see. I saw a video. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't Chris Cornell's daughter sing?
She does.
I mean, that was my first thought. You can't. I'd be hard pressed to argue with them doing a song with his daughter up there. But I don't know anything about her or them or anything. But if in a perfect world, that would be kind of cool.
Maybe that would be, the olive branch.
That's what I'm thinking.
Back to what you just said about how the Rock Hall has, a vision of the Rock Hall, how it's supposed to be. Fish, right? I'm no Fish fan. I'm the last person to be a Fish fan on the planet. And I mean, their catering is good, but everything else about the band, I'm not a fan of. And they ran away with the fan vote.
Of course.
Way out in front the whole time, was never even a thought.
Yeah.
And they have been around for decades, and the Grateful Dead are in. So there's kind of a, and then Dave Matthews Band is in, right? So that whole like happy, jammy Grateful Dead third generation knockoff. Well,
the Dead
smell kind of bands are in.
The Dead are the first and the originators, but Dave Matthews Band, people probably don't remember. I mean, in the 90s, they had bona fide hits, and I mean, the Dead had a few when they first started. Then they had Touch of Grey, which blew everyone's mind. So they were on the radio. They were on MTV. Goose has never had anything close to a hit in any definition of the word. To me, that doesn't disqualify them. But I think a lot of the voters in the Hall just go, no one here can hum a song. No one knows what they are. But I think it's insane they're not in, because they are as big as any touring band of the last 35 years, and they've never had a hit, and they've never been on the radio, and they weren't on MTV when MTV still mattered. They've done it completely on their own. And that to me is the coolest thing possible. That's the coolest thing you could possibly be.
And I'm not going to pretend it's not the hit factor over the scandal factor, because I think Fish had one scandal, right? Where I think the bass player got beat up by some bikers because he was alone with one of their daughters who was underage, and they said that.
I don't know anything about that.
There was like a eyebrow kind of like a side eye scandal. There was never anything like actual, but like from what I understand, there was like a skirmish.
Wow.
I don't know what.
I'm sure sure the voters that have no idea who the band is don't know about that scandal too,
Or care, right? I mean, Aerosmith is.
Yeah. I just think that, I mean, every year you can poke holes in everybody who gets in and everybody who doesn't. So I just prefer to talk about that. I think it's cool Joe Cocker's going in. I think it's really cool Soundgarden's going in. I thought Joy Division should have gone in. That's just me. Call me nuts. But
Billy Idol. I'm kind of shocked. Why isn't Billy Idol in there?
It's first time. I mean, I think a lot of people think
he's got the legacy, he's got the hits, he's got the new album out, he's on tour with Joan Jett. She's opening for him and she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but no Billy Idol.
Yeah, I imagine he'll be nominated again. I don't think it'll take long to get him in.
I feel like this was the year that would have been perfect, right, for him.
Yeah, I think so. It's really it shows you what an American angle there is on all this that Oasis isn't in. They're about to go on the biggest tour in rock history. I mean, they're doing, I think, 40 shows, and they'll be well over $1 billion grossed. I mean, they could do 140 if they wanted to. And the fact that they're just not so big here, but the rest of the planet, they're the biggest band that has come, you know, of all the bands that have come out since 1994, they're bigger than everybody. I mean, they're the biggest rock band on the planet that since 1994. Since a band that came out with their first album, I mean. But you know, it wasn't even like an eyebrow raised about them not getting in. It's not even a storyline in anything I've read. It's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, and if this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame were in London, they would have put him in at the day their second record was released. My God, they really are so absolutely big in the rest of the world. Which is, you know, but then there's no shortage of English bands, but I guess all the English bands that are in there had much bigger success in America, and that's Oasis's Achilles heel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think it's still up to like 15 people, you know, as much as they say we've got this body of voters, just like the Grammys do. I don't get the impression that anything's really being tabulated on a grand scale, but I could be totally wrong. I mean, I'm terrible at predicting elections.
I don't know. I know a few people who have a, you know, quote official vote, and they've all told, you know, the people who called me to tell me, hey, I voted for you. They are all under the impression that it's tabulated. If it's 1,300 or however many votes, you know, they all get thrown in the hat, but we'll see. I mean, I think that, the other one, Bad Company.
Somebody calls and is like, hey, I voted for you.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird. You know, what are you supposed to say? Okay. Well, I say thanks.
In the mail. See you for dinner.
Yeah. Bad Company. That's the other one that was kind of crazy to me. They'd never been nominated before. But honestly, that one surprised me. I thought that the young, I guess they skewed. There's still enough older voters that probably didn't think twice about that. But I guess what I'm saying is, it's shocking that Bad Company and the White Stripes are going in together. I wouldn't have expected those two bands to go anywhere together, much less into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Both valid and worthy inductees, but it just speaks to the fact that none of us have any idea how this works.
And Chubby Checker, right? So here's the half century kind of span of like how far behind they are at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's almost like they should just have some makeup years and just like, everybody who's dead that should already be in.
Yeah, right.
Put in. And I think they're kind of doing that with like the I want to say, is it Mavis Staples that's going in this time? Who is it? I have the name wrong. But there's a woman going in this time who's very significant, which is why it's terrible that I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but I promise you that's a brain fault, not that I didn't know who she was. Right. And she's going in right now, and it's like, okay, well, is she taking up a spot that could have been used for somebody who's alive? And
well, the influence, like Warren Zevon's going in as a, you know, artist of influence, not as a performer. They do have ways to work people in there like that. You know, Carol Kay, the bassist, is going in, and she should be.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, she's arguably the greatest, most recorded bassist in history. You know, she's right there. A friend of mine who is a voter, who I won't name him because I'm sure he doesn't care to have this come out, but he said, I think half the voters confuse Chubby Checker with Fats Domino. And he wasn't making a joke. He's dead serious. Yeah. He's like, I think a lot of these people have no idea about who actually, you know, is a big part of rock and roll history and who had a novelty hit. You know, Fats Domino, first ballot, absolutely building block of rock and roll. Chubby Checker had the twist.
Funny you should mention that. Chubby Checker has 6 songs in the top 20 and 12 charted hits. That's it. And the 6 songs in the top 20, you've only heard of one of them.
Yeah, I was going to say that's 5 more than I'm aware.
They were all between 1960 and 1959 and 1961.
Wow.
Yeah. So I wholly agree with you, because I had that whole conversation with somebody and was like, let's look into it.
Yeah. Well, you know, my wife and I are rewatching Mad Men these days, and there's a scene in the first season where all the people from the office are at a pub, and somebody puts the twist on the jukebox, and they all go crazy. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, it was a big song. You know, the people loved it in 1960.
He was in a couple of like TV shows and movies.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So the guy did have a long career. He did have like a half century of.
Well, he's
of
touring
playing
this year, 81 years old. He's out this year playing
Oh,
shows.
take it back. 65-year history then? My God.
Yeah, God bless him.
Well, you know what? Hey, I'm not going to be mad at it, but I think he should have been one of the honorable mentions, not an actual ballot. And before I forget to bring this up, Simon Kirk mentioned, I guess, in the press a couple of days where he's like, "Oh yeah, somebody already told me we're getting."
I was so relieved they got in because I read all of his quotes, and some of it you could easily say he's not really sure what he's talking about. Like
you think that's it? Because
he sounded misinformed to me, and I was like, this is going to look bad if they don't get in. So I was just relieved for him that it was actually true.
So he's not the first artist to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to be told in advance that I know of personally. I know somebody.
Oh no, they tip you off. I mean, they
got tipped way off in advance.
And with the nominations, especially because you see people nominated, and that morning they have obviously pre-recorded. Hey, this is great. It's a huge honor. I mean, they give people a heads up on the nomination. The inductions, yeah, I would imagine it works the same way. They got to give you a little. And I
can't. They don't want you to be on tour when it happens. So if they think you're going to have a touring cycle, they give you like the very far out heads up of like, listen, you're going to be nominated this year. You are going in, and these are going to be the dates.
Well, you know that maybe that's what's up with Oasis, because they're on. I think they're like in Australia in November or something. You know, they're still finishing that tour then. So maybe
they're
it's just
for 26. It'll make sense for them after they build a big buzz in the U.S.
Yep, maybe they're that could very well be it, because they might now be bothered to attend either way, and especially if they're on tour somewhere, they're not going to fly in for it.
Speaking of flying in, guess what I'm doing this weekend?
You are going fly fishing.
No, although fly
flying
fishing
in
is a struggling industry thanks to climate change, and communities that were previously having fly fishing as their tourist industry are trying to pivot. I just read that. Okay. No, I'm going for the cheese, man.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to see Glenn Ross on Saturday on Broadway.
Oh, awesome.
And then, of course, there will be cheese.
There will be cheese. We are going to go in June to see that show. And so I'm very excited about that.
Well, our mutual friend Dean Del Rey has seen it already and said it was fantastic. Yep. And I've seen a couple of other people post that they saw it and loved it. So I am excited.
Yeah, no, that'll be awesome.
Plus cheese.
Plus cheese. Plus just a meandering, salivating walkabout in the cheese shop.
It's funny because my friend who lives in New York City, she sent me this thing, and it was a link to a cheese rave. And I was like, what is the cheese rave? So I click all the way through, and it turns out it is exactly what you think it is. It's a rave that comes with cheese. And there's like a cheese, whole massive charcuterie that is out the whole time while the EDM is going on. So you turn up in your EDM outfit and you dance with your cocktails and your cheese. And I mean, I honestly can't think of anything more brilliant.
That'll stimulate the desire to eat more and more quickly. And when it's all that cheese, I mean, the blowback might be a little uncomfortable, 8-10 hours down the road, but boy, in the moment, that's going to be heaven. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I don't know if I have anything else on my list. Is there anything else you've got going on, or should we end on cheese?
I'm always happy to end on cheese. I don't know. I've just been so consumed with getting back into the flow. We had a few months where we were on air, but sort of halfway. I mean, it was weird and then I took 2 weeks away. My mom passed in March, and so we had a extended break. It doesn't take long to get out of the cycle of morning radio, as in it takes about 1 week off before your body's like, yes, we're sleeping in again. This is what it's supposed to be. And so starting back into the clock, like I said, I'm a month in, and it's like I'm starting from scratch all over again. Like I wake up and go, you got to be kidding me. I'm doing this now.
Oh yeah. I'm going to totally out you, because there was one time when I called you to chat and you were like out at 4:30 in the afternoon. specific.
Oh, I've been there's a lot of 5 p.m. sound asleep in a chair already, you know, and then get up and go to bed and then pop awake at 2 a.m. It's ridiculous.
So then what happens at 2 a.m.? Do you just get up and old man around the house for a couple hours, or do you go back?
No, I lay in bed and think and convince myself I'll go back to sleep, although I don't. And then after 30 or 45 minutes, then I get up and then I old man around by myself. And then I go watch the highlights of the game I was too tired to stay up for. Hey man, how about your Warriors right now? I'm
about like, the Warriors right now. As soon as you said the game, I was like, oh,
I tell you what.
He does.
I love the Draymond where he said, I'm not an 82 game player, I'm a 16 game player, basically, like regular season, whatever, but get that dude in the postseason.
That's a mic right there.
I am forever on team Draymond, man. I mean, there's no one you'd rather have on your team. You know, he's just one of those guys. You either hate him or you love him. And yet again, I just watch him play and just think there's no way this guy should be this impactful. And he's an absolute Hall of Famer, first ballot. He's mind blowing. Obviously, Steph is Steph. You don't even have to say it. But Draymond, and I've been on him since his second or third season. Like that guy's a freak. He's Dennis Rodman and 4 inches shorter. It doesn't make sense.
And if you can remember far enough back to the start of the season, it was not like that.
No.
We were going to be here. It was like, oh, rebuilding again, huh?
No, Jimmy's changed everything. Getting Butler in was, well, when Butler went down last week with that, you know, when he fell, I thought, well, that's it. I mean, he looks like he wasn't going to be back. And if he's back even in limited capacity, but no, I mean, it's a great thing they're playing the Rockets in the first round, who are at a great regular season, but it's just that youth. They're so young. There was no chance on God's green earth they were going to beat this team in a 7-game series. It's just not possible with all this experience. It's about to get a lot harder, but it's awesome to see them win this first round, which I'm assuming they will tonight, of course. Yeah. Not trying to jinx anybody here.
Yeah, knocking on all the things.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the Timberwolves can eliminate the Los Angeles Lakers tonight as well. I'll be staying up
LA all the time.
I'll be up for the first half of that one at least. I've made a commitment. I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, you've set some alarms.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we will be back in regular form now that most of the things have slowed down. But
yeah, I'm definitely feeling like I'm gonna have a normal life again now. So how many times have I said that?